You ever look back at one of your exes and just thank the Lord for deliverance? Because I was married once, and not just married, but deeply entangled with the laziest man in the continental United States. Maybe the world. It hasn't been determined yet. A federal employee, but personally bankrupt in effort. His mindset permanently furloughed. And let me tell you something. I knew I didn't have any business marrying him, but my optimism was louder than my common sense. Now listen, I found myself in a situation that would have made a Tyler Perry character say, "Girl, blink twice if you need help." This man right here, I'm not exaggerating. He was lazy on a level that should have been documented. I'm talking PhD in procrastination, master's degree in avoidance, and a minor in complacency. If laziness was a superpower, he was the Avengers and Justice League combined. And the kicker, he worked for the federal government. Yes, a good government job, honey. Now, you think that would mean structure, consistency, something stable? Nope. He was a federally employed and emotionally furloughed. I used to joke that he worked for the government, but his motivation was permanently on leave. When I met him, he looked good on paper. Job, benefits, cologne that hit before he did. That little fake confidence men wear when they think they're the prize. On paper, he was solid. In person, when we got to living together, that paper had water damage, was crumbled up, dried, and aired out. See, I wanted a partner, someone who could lead, communicate, and match energy. What I got was a man who loved to text instead of talk. We'd be sitting right next to each other, and this man would send me full essays by phone. I'm like, "Sir, you couldn't have just said that out loud." He was emotionally allergic to face conversations. If it didn't fit in a text bubble, he wasn't saying it. It was so annoying, and I hadn't really went through my anger management classes just yet. So admittedly, I would go off about just how stupid he was and that was. He worked the overnight shift, and I would wake up to text messages which would consist of a list of all the things he just couldn't stand about Lori. And when I tell you that list was long, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. Now imagine trying to solve a marital problem through emojis. I'm like, this just can't be real life. And to top it off, the man was jealous, envious, not of other men. No, he was jealous of me. And if you've never had an actual romantic partner that was jealous of you, it is the worst thing on the face of the earth. I was out here, a well-known socialite, active in my community, hosting events, meeting people, even a host of celebrities. I invited him always as my plus one. People respected me. I was basically a socialite in our city, and that man hated it. He say, "I'm tired of being Lori's husband." I'm like, "Sir, that's the best job title you'll ever have. You better print it on a resume and smile." He couldn't handle that I shine without dimming him. He wanted a woman who would play small so he could feel tall. But I'm not built for the background. I was born with main character energy, and he just wasn't equipped to handle it. Now, let's get into how I found out his broke energy had layers. The first clue came early. He would be visibly angry when I booked trips, spa sessions, or bought things for me and my children because somehow, some way, he never had no damn money. Our rent was very reasonable. He didn't have a car. Yes, he did have a car, excuse me. He had a car, and I found out it was his ex-wife's car. I had a truck. It was paid in cash, no notes, so I was totally confused why he never had no damn money. But the real slap in the face came later when I found out he was borrowing money from his ex-wife. Can you imagine? I felt so embarrassed. I wanted to change my name and move to another zip code. This woman knew she was sponsoring my household. Imagine your husband borrowing money from his ex-wife. What the?
What?
I lost all respect, and I can never love a man that I don't respect. And the wildest part, I didn't even hear it from him. I found out by accident. And when I say my stomach dropped, I mean I had to sit down and collect myself because it wasn't just the money, it was the disrespect. The fact that he could look me in my face every day knowing another woman, his ex, was helping cover what he couldn't. I know she was laughing. I know she found it hilarious that this man still needed her. I won't even say he couldn't. I'll say he made the decision not to do better because, again, he had a decent paying job, not six figures, but very close to it, and could have worked overtime if necessary, but was too damn lazy to do so. Now, around this time, he decided to hit me with one of those bright ideas. I really wanted this marriage to work, and I said, what do you think would help? He hit me with I think we should try this 50-50 thing. And against my better judgment, I said, okay, we could do 50-50, but it's going to be 50-50 everything. Finances, housework, kids, emotions, all of it. And wouldn't you know, that 50-50 arrangement lasted maybe 3 weeks because what he really meant was 50% of my money and 0% of the responsibilities. I said, oh, I get it now. You want equality on payday, but patriarchy on Saturdays and Sundays or whatever days. So what I said was, opposite weeks, you go to the grocery store, you buy the groceries, you cook all the meals. And I'll do the same the following week. That didn't work for him. So again, when men say 50-50, please understand what you want. I'm not paying 50% of the bills and doing 100% of the work. You sitting there talking about we partners. No, sir, we're not. Partners share the load. You just want me to financial comfort while you critique my efforts. He wanted to split the bills. I still do all the cooking, still run the kids around, still do all the cleaning, still take care of all the paperwork. Hell no, that ain't gonna work for me. And mind you, critique me along the way on how I'm doing all of that. I tried to make it work because, like a lot of women, I thought if I just loved him harder, maybe he'd rise to the occasion. Spoiler alert, he did not. He stayed exactly who he was, comfortable, complacent, and convinced that my hustle would cover both of us. And I'll be honest, at that time, I was carrying more than bills. I was carrying hope, disappointment, and a whole man's ego. I was being the planner, the encourager, the budget analysis, and sometimes the therapist. It was exhausting. I felt like I was doing performance reviews for someone who hadn't worked a full shift since the honeymoon. I had been an entrepreneur since 1999, so I always had a supplemental income, a way to stay above water, not rich, but not in despair either. It wasn't until one morning I woke up and I realized this can't be life. I was too grown and too capable to live like that. My peace was clocking out. My joy was working overtime, and my patience had put in a 2-week notice. I was disgusted being there. I moved like I was single, not with other men, because that wasn't my interest, but just making decisions on my own without consulting him. When my children went to their dads, I stayed gone. Anytime I knew he was at home, I made sure I was not in that house. I don't care if I sat in my car at the library. I didn't care. I found somewhere to be as long as it wasn't there when I wasn't there when he was. That's when it clicked. I wasn't married to a partner. I was managing a project. And as a project manager, it has to make sense. And not even a good project. He had no updates, no deliverables, and no deadline in sight. He finally left. I wanted to have a parade, do cartwheels down the street. Now, you think the story ends there, right? Nope, not even close. Because when that man finally left, he stole my truck. Yup, sure did. A truck I had paid for with my hard-earned money. And I know, I should have seen it coming. But you don't expect the person you once shared vows with to drive off in your vehicle like it's a getaway car. He knew damn well that truck didn't belong to him, but yet took it anyway. And it gets better. I filed for divorce, but the man went ghost. He hid for 3 years to avoid being served. I was out here doing legal hide and seek with a man who barely liked to leave the couch. But oh, the moment he finally showed up to court, the judge said, okay, I can finalize this divorce today. He looked the judge square in the eye and said, Your Honor, I don't have the money for the filing fee. Yep. I had to pay his portion of the divorce. Let me clarify that. I didn't have to, but I wanted that divorce over. I called my current husband. He sent me the money and paid for my divorce. That's how much he believed in me, y'all. I cried. I called crying. I can't get this divorce. This man still, he won't even pay his part of the divorce. Y'all, I think it was less than $500. This man still lazy, still broke, wouldn't even pay his portion. I had already paid my portion of the divorce. Wouldn't even pay his portion of the divorce. The same man who stole my trunk now had my man sponsoring his divorce. So when men out here saying women are gold diggers, they after our money, women don't believe in men, they don't give us the opportunity, they don't want to help us grow, I laugh, I cackle. What money? Sir, most women are the bank, the teller, the overdraft protection. Most women aren't after your money. They just trying to keep theirs. Leaving that marriage wasn't easy, but peace rarely is. It takes courage to admit you've been loyal to dysfunction. But the moment I let go, everything in my life got lighter. My sleep improved. My bank account stopped gasping for air. I swear even my Wi-Fi connection got stronger. It was like my life said, welcome back, sis. We've been waiting for you. And looking back, I can laugh now, but I learned some hard truths. You cannot fix lazy. You can't inspire drive into somebody who doesn't want to move. You can't pray for consistency in a man who only worships convenience. And love is beautiful, but it's not a work ethic. That marriage taught me I can't raise a grown man, and I'm not about to compete with his excuses. It also showed me how small I start living just to keep peace, and that's not peace. That's performance. I have actually never shared this story, but thought y'all could use a laugh today. So yes, I was married to the laziest man alive, but I also experienced one of the greatest awakenings of my life. Because when you leave what drains you, you make space for what fulfills you. These days, I like my peace steady, my joy secure, and my husband, self-motivated, emotionally fluid, and financially aware. He communicates in real sentences, not text bubbles. He sees my light and says, let's build more, not you doing too much. And I'm not making it a comparison, guys. I'm not making it a comparison. I'm saying what you're asking for is just never too much. So if you're listening to this and recognizing your situation, take it as a sign. If you're constantly explaining, adjusting, and overfunctioning, you're not in love, you're in labor. And that's the thing about carrying a relationship by yourself. Eventually, you put it down and realize you were the only one keeping it alive the whole time. To my soft life sisters, don't mistake stability for substance. Don't let a steady paycheck make you ignore a shaky character. And don't let anyone guilt you into silence just because your shine reminds them of their shadows. Now, I'm going to sip my tea, thank God for discernment, and remind myself that peace is my new non-negotiable. Because when I look back at that marriage, I don't feel anger, I feel gratitude. Gratitude for the lesson, gratitude for the escape, and gratitude that I never have to share Wi-Fi with that kind of energy again. All right, y'all, that's my story time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. And follow me on all socials at RSVP with Lori for more laughter, lessons, and lifestyle. Until next time, your RSVP is confirmed.